Hello, welcome back to my hobby bench. My name is Ken, and today we're going to continue working on our AMT 132nd Studio Series TIE Fighter. When we last left off, we had completed the lighting for under our cockpit as well as our engine lights. Today I'm going to carry on with putting the green blaster lights in the front here for our blasters. I'm also going to put a sealing coat on our internals of our cockpit here. We're going to put down a clear coat or two, and then we'll look at, hopefully, after lighting everything up, we'll be able to assemble it. Okay, so we have our inside has been clear coated. For the general inside of the entire thing, I sprayed X35, which is the semi-gloss clear from Tamiya. And then for the decals that they're supposed to be lit screens or, that sort of thing. So I went for just X22 clear. I did about 5 drops of that with 1 drop of the paint retarder, and I just kind of mixed it up into a little palette here, and then just used I think this is a Zero no-name brand brush, and I just painted in all the screens to make them a little bit more glossy. And now that that's done, we're going to move on to our lighting of our blasters. So I'll be right back. For our blasters, we have 2 clear parts, and they'll just go into these little holes here. I did find, though, that they have a really pronounced seam on it, so I did have to work on it a bit and sand around in there and get onto it, which is not a big deal. Majority of this is going to be painted anyway with the hull color, and just the tip here will be what's gonna be lighting up. So I'll clean this one up as well, get the seams off of it. It's not a big deal if you end up fogging it or making it kind of cloudy. That's fine. That's what I'm going to be doing anyway, just to diffuse the light. So I'm gonna clean this up and get it ready to be mounted so that it can eventually be painted. Alright, be right back. So I have these cleaned off now, and now I'm just securing them in with a little bit of extra white glue. This is the microcrystal clear that I'm using. We'll let that dry for just a little bit, and we'll come back and we can start putting our electronics in. So here we go to install our first of our 2 blaster lights. I've tested them. I got this one still going right now, but I've tested this one already. I've kind of put a bit of an angle on this so that it can fit into here and lay down. I'm going to come in here with my hot gun. I keep wanting to say super glue, but it's a hot glue gun. Okay, so kind of prop that up like that. And remember, hot glue is hot. now that we have our lights installed, our clear coating is dried, so now I can move on to step 6, and I can assemble our cockpit and put our pilot in. Okay, so here we have our cockpit assembled. We've got our pilot in there, everything's glued up, and we're ready to close everything up. But before we do, I'm going to check these lights. They're going to be underneath this cockpit. There we go. And now if you look, you can really see those LEDs individually. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and diffuse it. I'll have a couple options here. I have some diffusing material, and I have some of this fiber fill. So I'm going to try and see which of these two can best diffuse the light here so that it kind of makes it more even. So let's take a look and see which one does the better job. So here we have our cockpit sitting on top of our lights. You can see the lights really strongly individually, as I can here. So I'm going to take the filtering material. It has a shiny side and a dull side. Just taking a look. I don't know if it makes a difference. But here it is with just one layer. It helps a bit. It doesn't make a difference on the camera. The cameras always blow out these LED lights. So we'll try one more layer. Let's see if that makes a difference. Oh, see, for me that looks really good. Looking on the camera, it still blows it out a little bit, but no, I really like how it's looking. So I'm going to get some of the fiber fill, and we'll see how that looks instead. Alright, so here we are with our fiber fill, so we're going to try and add some of that. We'll see how that does. Just looking here. It's not bad, but it may be hard to compress, and then also running the wires through that tube might take a little bit more work, but let's take a look. That looks pretty good too. Camera kind of looks much the same, maybe a little bit more diluted on camera. But yeah, I don't know, I have to say both of them are good options. You can also do that, I guess, if we really wanted to. Well, it really does a number on the camera as well, and it looks actually really good here. So I'm gonna make a decision here, and I'll let you know what I decide and when I come back. Okay, so after comparing the two, I think I'm going to go with the 2 layers here of the diffusion film. I kind of like that better. I found with the fiber fill, it was actually dimming the lights a little bit too much. So I'm going to go this way. So we'll get this all ready and try and close this all up. First, we're going to have to add this piece right here. Okay, so here I am. Got the cockpit already starting to go in, and I just noticed that I hadn't painted this rear view, I don't know, display or mirror or whatever it is. Hasn't been painted yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and use some my XF80 and just give that a brush coat of paint here. Okay, so I have that painted now, so it kind of matches the interior of the cockpit. So what I'm going to do now, before putting it together, I am actually going to extend my wires so that they will fit down the tube, and we can put it in the base with the switches. So I'm going to get set up here to do some more soldering, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now I have my tube here so I can see how long of a wire I need. So I'm just going to put that up in here. There we go. And I'm going to take some of my wire. Now I want to make sure I have enough wire to do what I need to do inside the model itself. And then I want to make sure I have enough wire to do whatever I need to do in the stand. So that should do. There we go. And I'll take about the same amount as my black. There we go. And that's for the red lights. Get to work in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unsolder these two wires here first. I'll zoom in a bit here for you. So we'll unsolder these ones and we'll attach these ones, which should be able to go down here, down our tube. So let's do this. Oh, there's one down. We'll take our stripping tool. Black. Connect these to the proper connection points. Negative to negative, positive to positive. Red. Alright, there we go. No, that red one's not connected very well. That looks a bit better. Take an inspection of it. Looks good. And we'll make sure our connections are good by hooking up our power supply. Let's see how it looks. Oh. Looking good. Yeah, I say we're good. So, I'm just gonna, yeah. Now we'll go on to our front here now as well. We will solder on some connectors on here that'll be just as good and able to reach the base. So I'll get that started and we'll be right back. So here we have our wires attached. I went with your standard black and red for negatives and positives coming out of our red lights, and then coming out of the front with the twin blasters. I have a green on the red, like I had said earlier, and I went with the blue to the black. So those have all been put in and extended, so we should have no problem with it coming down our tube to our base. So now I can continue and close up our model here with our cockpit in it, and see where that takes us, and we'll go on from there. So we have our cockpit put into our front. I'm going to put some glue here into these pegs, receiving areas. Okay, as I'm putting it together, I'm really finding I have to put a few clamps on it and glue it piece by piece. That's probably more of a me kind of problem here. I think I might have put too much behind those globs of black hot glue, so I think that might be interfering. I think in the future, to do this, I would take my LEDs, and I think I would put them in place with like a UV glue or something like that, just to have them put in place temporarily, and then I could come in and with a small amount of my hot glue and really, you know, put that in there and light block. So just something to think about in the future. I'm going to continue on here clamping and gluing, and we'll see how it turns out. Okay, so you can see now that I have everything kind of clamped together, keeping everything in position so it can dry up with the glue. If you do note, though, I do have a couple toothpicks in here, and you may be wondering why. It's just because there was a little unevenness in this seam right here between one side and the other, so I'm just kind of using them as a shim. They're not stuck in there deep, just a little bit enough to raise one side so that the two sides meet together and are pretty smooth. So that's just a little tip that I can give you. I did the same on the other side, and then I've kind of taped it to help keep the extra pressure to keep that seam nice and smooth, but it is really well done. So I have this all together now. One of the next steps I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking this little bottom piece right here that goes, actually would be a little plug underneath here on the bottom. I'm actually going to drill a hole through it so that it can sit on the bottom, and the tube will still go through here, and it'll keep that little bit of detail on there. So let's see how we can do this. Okay, so here I have my little mini drill. I do have other options, but this is the one I'm going to try using. This is the one that's actually a little kit from Tamiya. And I'm just going to start off by going into this little hole here. Oh! Went a little crooked, but that's okay. Now we have a general center point, and next we can come in here with our electrical handy router. Is also a kit from Tamiya, and we can kind of clear this out and make some room for our little tube here. So I'm going to go to that now. Okay, so I've managed to get this cleared out, and as you can see, I've managed to get the tube to go through this piece here so we can maintain that detail. So what I've done is I've actually used the seam line scraper here to help ream this hole out a little bit better, and it fits really good now. I still have this little this keyed portion here to go in the slot on the bottom of the ship. So I'm just going to clean it up just a little bit more, and I'll be back. Okay, so we have our hole in there now, or our tube, and we can bring up our piece here, a little cap. We're just test fitting. It should go like that, and there we go. And then we just glue that in, and then that's what we're going to end up with on the bottom of our ship. So I'm using a 28 gauge wire. It fits through here really nice. I could get 4 through here. I could probably get 1, maybe 2 more wires through here, and I think that would be it. But for now, I still have one more little area here I have to glue up, and I think she'll be ready to get ready for the rest of the parts to go on the outside. Okay, so you can see everything's clamped up and drying. So while that's going on, I'm going to move this out of the way, and then I'm going to come back with our wing parts, and I'm going to do the base part without the struts on them, and get that ready so that in the future here we can breeze through the rest of this. So while I move this Frankenstein monstrosity out of the way, and then I'll come back and we'll begin on those wings. Okay, so to start the construction, we have several parts. We have our fours, which are your tops and your bottoms. So this would be your 4. They come like this. So we would have 4 of those. And then we have our 3s, which would be those 2, and your 5s, which would be these 2. So here's an example of a 3. And here's the example of the 5. So I'm going to get those all cut out and cleaned up, and we'll start snapping them together. It looks like they go together like a little puzzle with these pieces here. So we'll get that done, kind of get them glued up, and get them ready for paint. so as I'm gluing this wing up here, it actually doesn't sit 100% flat. So on this side here, I've put a weight on it. This is just a, I think they're called like a 1x3 or something like that, or a 1-2-3 block. And I'm just using it as a weight. It's a machined piece of metal. It's actually pretty smooth. So I'm going to use it as a weight to kind of keep that part down and let the glue dry. So I've just got these last couple to do here. So I'll put my weight on there. Make sure everything's gone together. I have seen other builds of this same kit. And I have seen that other people have had this same issue with the wings. It is a large area, so a little bit of warpage or whatever the case is not so bad. And this one here is not bad at all. I've dealt with many models in the past which have been extremely warped and require a lot of work. This is actually, I must say, a really good kit. I'm very happy with it. There's that seam done. Move on to this one. Like that. And what we're doing is we're just letting the capillary action suck the glue into the seam. Like that. There we go. Move my weight up so it's got the pressure here. I'll just glue the rest of this. Alright, so there we have it. I've primed the wing sections and then given them a couple coats on both sides of the semi-gloss black from Tamiya, which is the X18. And we've got all this hooked up. I've got the little bottom portion here has now been glued into place. My lights are all working good. So I'm ready to close this up. But before I do that, I'm going to have to end the episode here. So when we come back next time, we'll get to putting all the greeblies on the outside of the hull of the TIE Fighter, and then we'll look at giving it a coat of paint. So until the next time, you take care, and I'll see you then.